Hey, welcome. So let me ask you something. When you hear the word yoga, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably flexible people in fancy leggings, sweating it out in a studio. But what if I told you that's just one tiny piece of a huge, ancient philosophy for how to live your life? Today, we're diving into the 8 limbs of yoga to find out if it really is more than just a workout.
I mean, here in the West, yoga is almost always sold as a fitness routine, right? It's something you do to get in shape. But is that the whole story? Well, as we're about to find out, not even close.
And this slide really nails the difference. On one side, you have the modern version, a workout all about aesthetics and fitness, with goals like getting a flat tummy. But on the other side, you have its 5,000-year-old origin story. It was a philosophy, a spiritual path toward unity, a journey to the self. It's this huge shift from a deep spiritual system to, well, just another workout that we're going to unpack today. So how do we get back to those roots? How do we see what's underneath the surface? The answer is in a foundational text that lays out the real scope of yoga, the Eightfold Path. So we have to go way back to around 500 BC to a sage named Patañjali. He put together what's known as the Yoga Sutras, and right near the beginning, he gives us this definition of yoga. Notice something? It has absolutely nothing to do with touching your toes. The whole goal isn't to get a perfect body, but to achieve a still, clear mind. Now, this is a really important point because words can get confusing. When people hear Ashtanga today, they usually think of a super demanding, sweaty yoga class. But the original Sanskrit word, Ashtanga, literally just means 8 limbs. So Patanjali wasn't talking about a workout style at all. He was laying out a step-by-step guide for living a full and purposeful life. So where does this 8-limbed path actually begin? Well, interestingly, it's not on a yoga mat. It starts with our ethics, our character. The first 2 limbs, the Yamas and Niyamas, are the moral foundation for everything else. I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. It just makes so much sense, right? Think about any sport. Football, basketball, whatever. It has rules, a code of conduct. You can't just run around and do whatever you want. Yoga, in this sense, is the same. The yamas and niyamas are the basic rules of decency for how we play this game of life. First up, we have the yamas. You can think of these as 5 principles for how we interact with the world and the people around us. They're all about creating a life where we're not causing friction or conflict with others or our environment. Let's just take a quick look at the very first one, ahimsa. It's often translated simply as nonviolence, but it's so much more active than that. It's about actually nourishing growth and uplifting others. And this is where you can see how yoga and activism can be deeply connected. Fighting for social justice, for example, is ahimsa in action. So if the yamas are about how we treat the world, the niyamas are all about how we treat ourselves. These are the internal practices, things like inner purity, being content with what you have, having the discipline to keep going, studying yourself, and letting go. Together with the yamas, they build this really solid personal and ethical foundation. All right, now we finally get to the parts of yoga that most of us recognize, the physical postures and the breathing. But their original purpose might actually surprise you. So what was the real point of asana, the physical postures? Patanjali himself defines it as simply a steady and comfortable seat. That's it. The whole point wasn't about pretzel shapes and extreme flexibility. It was about training the body to be able to sit still and comfortably for a long time so you could meditate. Any pose that causes you pain, according to the original texts, that's not really a yoga pose. And then we have pranayama. And again, this is so much more than a few deep breaths. Prana is the Sanskrit word for life force energy, this subtle energy that's all around us and inside of us. So pranayama is the practice of controlling that energy through your breath to calm your whole nervous system and get your mind ready for the deeper stuff. Okay, so we've established our ethics, we've prepared our body and our breath. Now the path takes a really interesting turn, away from the outside world. This is where we start the journey inward. I think this phrase just captures the shift perfectly, from doing to being. We're moving away from the active practices of ethics and postures and into the much more subtle internal states of our own consciousness. And you can see how these last 4 steps flow into each other. It all starts with Pratyahara. That's consciously pulling your senses back from all the outside distractions. Once you can do that, you can practice Dharana, which is single-pointed concentration.
That focus then leads you into dhyana, a deep state of meditation where you start to lose that sense of, I am meditating. And the final limb is samadhi, a state of enlightenment or oneness with the present moment.
Okay, so this is a cool ancient path, but what in the world does it have to do with our crazy, busy modern lives? As it turns out, pretty much everything.
I mean, just look at these examples. Aparigraha, not hoarding things. What a powerful idea in a world of nonstop consumerism. Or satya, truthfulness, a call to be authentic instead of hiding behind social media masks. Santosha, contentment, frees us from that constant pressure to always want more, more, more. And pratyahara, withdrawing your senses. That's practically a revolutionary act when our phones are buzzing every 5 seconds.
And this really is the main takeaway. The eight-limbed path shows us that yoga was never, ever meant to be something you just do for an hour in a class. It's a whole spiritual path, a way of being in the world that changes how we treat others, how we treat ourselves, and how we understand our own minds.
There's this incredible quote from the Bhagavad Gita that just sums it all up perfectly. The journey isn't about getting somewhere else. The journey itself, the vehicle you're using, and the destination, it's all found right inside you.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. After going through this whole eightfold path, from ethics all the way to enlightenment, has your idea of yoga changed at all? Is it still just a workout? Or maybe is it a roadmap to a more conscious and connected life? Thanks for joining me.